We've got 8 things on the agenda.
You guys visited all these sites?
Yes. Except for your neighbors.
Yeah, right. Good evening, Linda. I didn't get a chance to say.
Hey Chris, how are you?
You should have 8 bags.
I do, but there's sketches.
No, we have sketches on one.
That's it.
It's solar. Yeah. These are conservation corridor development. That's drawings.
Yeah, doors going in, little electric, and one for the little holes. Inside the holes where they need stuff, battery, some stuff that they can't do when they're plugged up sometimes. But we'll find every day. Pretty hands, pretty square.
Good job.
The door set was just about 8. You wanted to do 10, but you wanted to hit a bar on the new rack.
Trusses?
Everyone's steel. Except there's some broken. Then I grab the other steel too.
Oh, yeah.
Keep her cut right out of it. So, can't look for a refrigerator. I don't know. Maybe a dispenser. I'll knock out the bad wall.
Dispenser. Really? So you should do a little more research on it. Find out the garage, you have a refrigerator, a grill, a couple of chairs.
I was trying to keep it under control.
Okay, let's get going.
You live? You live? I got it. Okay, everybody wake up. 7 o'clock. Welcome to the Town of Hamlin, October 4th, 2020 Planning Board meeting. This time I'd like to tell everybody 2021, excuse me. I was reading, we forgot the one. I was reading off the page where there's a typo. So anyways, at this time, I'd like to explain that the exits are out the door to the left, down the hall, and out the door to the right, down the hall. There's an AED on the wall outside if it's needed to be used. Anybody has cell phones, pagers, or any other devices that would interrupt this meeting, please turn them off at this time. Everybody has a right to have their speak and not be interrupted by that. The only person that can have a phone on is the guy at the end of the table because he's got all this mapping stuff. Okay, so.
It's on fire.
All right, it's on. Okay. Has everybody had a chance to look at last month's meeting? Are there any additions, deletions, corrections, please speak to it at this time. If not, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
I'll make a motion for approval last month's minutes.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded, poll vote, please.
Linda Zarou,
Yes.
Steve Law, Dave Martin,
Yes.
Chris Schleider,
Yes.
Mark Ballerstein,
Yes.
James Nesbitt.
Yes.
Steve Pittman.
Okay, as far as the regular roll call, this is it. I received a phone call from both Steves today, and both of them have some problems where they can't be here. Okay, so let the record show that I approve their absence at this time. Okay, agenda was published, but due to a conflict, I'm gonna move an agenda item for 99 Hamlin Parma Town Line Road to the head of the line, for Jill Nicole. Jill, are you here? Okay, this application is for Jill Nicole, owner Jill seeking conservation corridor development permit to build a deck and lean-to within 200 feet from those areas mapped for the official town of Hamlin wetland map. This is in the RBL zoning district, the LWRP and the Ag district. Tax count number 008.040-01-006. Jill, you have anything you want to add to, there was a drawing and some other stuff for that?
No.
Okay. JP?
Yeah, I didn't see any sketch. All I found was the consistency document. I really don't have anything to look at.
We had, she has Army Corps is non-determined in the DEC,
Okay, I saw that.
no jurisdiction.
Okay. Keith?
I have no concerns.
Cheryl?
I have no concerns.
Okay. Janine? You've looked at this site.
I did look at the site, and, because the property appeared on the official town of Hamlin wetlands map, we did inquire with the Army Corps as to whether the permit was needed, and as Cheryl said, they said it was not.
Non-jurisdiction.
And so it's consistent with the LWRP,
It is consistent.
yes,
Linda?
no concerns.
David?
No, meets the criteria.
Jim?
No, would like to see a drawing or something, 'cause I
Well,
got the same as you.
Need it for the permit, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Show me if there's
and I do have it for the permit.
So just about, could you give us a very simple description of where the deck and lean-to is going to be?
On the north side of the house,
Yeah, just logical location.
yeah. It's just a place to park the car.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay, with this being said, we need a secret determination for this?
It is type 2.
Okay, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that the board consider the Conservation Corridor Development Permit for Jill Julio at 99 Hamlin Parma Town Line Road to be considered type 2 under seeker, and our review is complete.
Second.
Poll votes.
Linda Zarou,
Yes.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
Chris Schleider,
Yes.
James Nesbitt,
Yes.
Mark Ballerstein.
Yes,
Okay, very good.
on the main motion, I'd like to make a recommendation that the planning board approve the Conservation Corridor Development Permit application of Jill Niculio, owner Jill Niculio, seeking Conservation Corridor Permit to build a deck and a lean-to within 200 feet from those areas mapped under the, mapped per the official town of Hamlin wetlands map. This is in the RBL zoning district, LWRP, and the AG district. Tax account number 008.040-1-01-006. And the following documents have been submitted for review: a letter of intent, conservation corridor development permit application, aerial photo of the property, and DEC and Army Corps letters of no jurisdiction.
Second.
All the votes, please.
Linda Drew,
Yes.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
Chris Schleider,
Yes.
James Nesbitt.
Yes.
Mark Ballerstein.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Good to go. Okay, next item on the agenda is another conservation corridor development permit for Bruce and Joan Powell at 5834 West Watoma Beach Road. They added deck within 100 feet of Lake Ontario. Somebody hear from that?
Yeah.
Okay, so you, Joan?
I am.
Okay, welcome to our meeting. A brief explanation,
We are going to give the front entrance eliminated, and we're putting a 15-foot long, 6-foot wide deck to the side, take advantage of the view on the east side of the property.
okay. JP,
It's just unclear, how high off the ground is the deck gonna be? Is that first floor level?
Yes,
Okay. And it just be gravel underneath it?
yes.
Now, those are the only things. Where it's located, which shouldn't impact any neighboring property views and be in lower ground. So I wouldn't have any engineering concerns.
Keith?
No legal concerns, it's a type 2 action.
Sure.
No concerns. I've gone over the application with Joni and her husband multiple times to make sure we had everything correct, and I'm confident that we did a job.
Okay, back to Janine, you visited the site.
I did visit the site and, there's no issues. It's consistent with the other DRP.
That's very good. Linda? Okay,
No? Okay.
Jim?
Nothing.
No,
Mark? Okay, I'm looking for two motions.
Make a motion for approval for,
Secret.
Sequit first here, yeah, for Bruce and Joan Powell, 5834 West Watoma Beach Road, for a conservation corridor development permit, for an unlisted type 2 negative deck.
A second.
All the votes, please.
Linda Drew,
Yes.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
Chris Schleider,
Yes.
James Nesbitt,
Yes.
Mark Ballerstein.
Yes.
And for the approval of Bruce and Joan Powell, owners Bruce and Joan Powell, seeking a conservation corridor development permit to add a deck to the existing dwelling within 100 feet of Lake Ontario. This is in the Shoreline Residential Zoning District, LWRP, tax account 008.150-0-027. Following documents have been submitted for review: letter of intent, conservation corridor development permit application, aerial photo of the property, instrument survey, and sent for the LWRP site visit.
I'll second.
All the votes, please.
Linda Drew,
Yes.
Dave Martin,
Yeah.
Chris Schleider,
Yes.
James Nesbitt,
Yes.
Mark Ballerstein.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Next item on the agenda is for Suzette Brennan, 6390 Shore Acres Drive, for a conservation corridor development permit to add a deck to the existing dwelling within 100 feet of Lake Ontario. Suzette here.
I'm her sister-in-law, Bonnie Murphy, representing her out of town.
Okay, pretty self-explanatory.
It's a deck on the south and east side.
JP?
Same questions I asked before. Is it at ground level or first floor level?
Yes.
And, it won't be impervious underneath, it would just be gravel or something.
I do not know. Do you know that, Sharon?
It's going to be gravel underneath there, and they're gonna add a little gravel driveway to the existing driveway.
And then on this aerial photo, there's, appears to be on that lakeside covered porch. Is that coming out? Is that gone now?
There's a, yeah, it's only like maybe 8 by 8 or something, but it's kind of part of the house, so it's, I don't think it's going anywhere.
Okay.
And the house and the addition were built before 1988.
Yeah, I have no other engineering concerns about
Keith?
It is type 2 and no legal concerns.
Cheryl?
No concerns.
Janine?
No, I looked at this, it's consistent with the LWRP.
Thank you.
No concerns.
Dave?
I just, on the aerial photo here, what's the yellow line for it?
I think that's,
That is just the way pictometry looks when they do it's not a straight down aerial view, that's the property line. But that's on an angle,
it's
So
an
the property-
oblique.
yeah.
Oh, well, the property line doesn't run through the middle of the house.
No.
I was just the way I.
Ignore the yellow line and just pay attention to the picture.
Okay.
This is for the assessor, no.
Yeah. Okay.
You're good?
Looks good.
Yeah.
Nothing.
I'm good.
Okay. We need
Like,
2 motions.
I'll give you a couple motions here. I'd like to make a motion that, for the Conservation Corridor Development Permit for Suzette Brennan at 6390 Shore Acres Drive, that we consider this to be a type 2 action under seeker, and then our seeker review is complete.
Second. Full votes, please.
Linda Drew,
Yes.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
Chris Schleider,
Yes.
James Nesbitt.
Yes.
Mark Bellerstein.
Yes. And the main motion for Suzette Brennan at 6390 Shore Acres Drive, seeking a Conservation Corridor Development Permit to add a deck to the existing dwelling within 100 feet of Lake Ontario. This is in the Shoreline Residential Zoning District, LWRP, tax account number 007.52-1-26.11. The following documents have been submitted for review: letter of intent, Conservation Corridor Development Permit application, instrument survey, drawing of the deck location, aerial photo of the property, and we have a statement the LWRP is consistent.
I'll second it.
Linda Drew,
Yes.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
Chris Schleider,
Yes.
James Nesbitt,
Yes.
Mark Bellerstein.
Yes.
Okay, very
Thank
good.
you.
Okay, next item on the agenda. We gotta run on these tonight.
That's what I said.
Another Conservation Corridor Development Permit, application for Brian and Michelle Donovan, 5910 West Watoma Beach Road, for foundation maintenance work within 100 foot of Lake Ontario. Is there somebody here representing them?
I do not see Mr. Niles from waterproofing here. Even though I did speak to him today, and he was going to be here for the 2 applicants of Donovan and Murphy.
Okay. Well, do we want to hold
That's me
on
right
this
here.
to see if he shows up?
Oh, you're right here?
Sorry, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Good time.
We're discussing 5910 West Watoma Beach Road. Can you give us an explanation of what kind of foundation work you're gonna be doing for the board, please?
In the basement, we're gonna be breaking the foundation, just around the perimeter of the basement, adding, pipe and stuff pumped down there in the basement.
Okay, you're not raising the elevation or anything else like
Nope.
that?
Nope.
Hey, JP,
Is there an existing sump and discharge that you're gonna be reusing? Or is there gonna be a new discharge?
New one,
So presently, there's no sump.
there's nothing in there yet.
Yeah, I think one of the things for the conservation development permit is creating a new discharge into the lake, which that would probably be.
Can I make a comment? When I spoke to the homeowner, he said there was a sump pump under there, but it failed in 2019, and that's why,
Okay.
that's
So,
why it's,
so they probably have a pump and a discharge line already, so nothing really.
Keith,
No concerns. Type 2.
Cheryl,
I have no concerns, because also on the outside, they're gonna dig a trench along the outside. They're gonna remove that fill dirt. They're going to tar the basement with the material and put plastic up and fill the dirt back in.
Linda?
No, I think Cheryl covered everything.
That's good.
I have one question, is the first floor elevation gonna change?
No.
You're not gonna jack the place
No.
up at all?
We're just breaking around the floor, maybe, we're going maybe 8 to 10 inches deep.
So you're gonna maintain that?
Just maintain, just keep everything in ground, just adding a pipe in the ground, that's it, just to make the water flow into our crops.
I'm good.
Okay, so 2 motions. Guys getting exercise tonight.
Make a motion then for, the, Brian and Michelle Donovan, 5910 West Watoma Beach Road, for a, type 2 unlisted negative deck.
Second.
Linda DeRue,
Yes.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
Chris Schleider.
Yep.
James Nesbitt,
Yes.
Mark Valentine.
Yes.
Motion, for approval then for Brian and Michelle Donovan, 5910 West Watoma Beach Road. Owners Brian and Michelle Donovan seeking a conservation corridor development permit to allow foundation maintenance work within 100 feet of Lake Ontario. This is in the Shoreline Residential Zoning District, LWRP, tax account 008.150-01-008. The following documents have been submitted for review: conservation corridor development permit, instrument survey, aerial photo of the property, and description of the work to be done.
I'll second it.
Linda DeRue,
Yes.
Dave Martin.
I'm sorry, there was more on the other.
Oh,
Do you want me to
Whoops.
say it or no? Drawing of work to be done, LWRP is consistent.
okay, thank you. Okay, Dave Martin.
Yes.
Okay. Chris Schleider.
Yep.
James Nesbitt,
Yes.
Mark Valentine.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Let's see what our next one is. Next one is for Heather Murphy, Conservation Corridor Development Permit, 6516 Shore Acres Drive. For some foundation work. Pretty similar to what we were doing with the other project.
Same thing, but this is only difference is getting two crops, and that's it. 2 sub pumps, that's it.
2 crocs, for what reason?
It's a bigger basement, that's it.
Okay.
Split the basement up and make the water go one way, half a basement, the other half go in the other crop. It's such a bigger basement.
JP?
I guess the same question is if there's an existing discharge that, we don't have any new discharges being created. Or if there is, just that we're aware of. If there's gonna be a run to the lake with a, sump pump line.
Because I did not see on the plans, no
Or the
speaking
cross
to the owner,
piece.
that there was gonna be anything running to the lake.
Okay.
Where is the discharge point gonna be? From the cracks, is it going out, straight out to the lake? It's not going gravity to either one of the neighbors?
No, it'll most likely go out to the lake.
Most likely.
Yeah, if not surface.
Underground,
Underground.
out to the lake.
Out
Do you have, I was not aware of that. Is there a DEC, did, Mr. Niles go to the DEC to get permission, to run a line out to the lake for discharge? I don't have any of that paperwork.
If there's already, is there a crock at all down there?
I've never been underneath the dwelling.
Oh, okay.
I don't believe the homeowner said there was.
Okay.
That would be only, I mean, you can, that's an allowable use here, I just think we just modify the sketch and show where the
Okay.
discharge is. And you probably can't go directly to the lake with the present
It
code.
needs a daylight.
Needs a daylight at the surface, somewhere where it's gonna drain away. That's,
Well, that can be a condition of the permit.
Yes, I can do that as conditional and I'll take care of it tomorrow.
Okay.
Go run the surface on the splash block To the back of the, yeah, to the back of the yard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
somewhere where there's positive
Yeah.
drainage, not any of the neighboring.
Yeah.
Janine, you've been to the site.
And I said, the homeowner didn't say anything about whether there was any previous.
Pardon me?
The homeowner was there and didn't say anything about whether there was a previous sump system under there, so I don't think there was. Both this property and the prior one are in the CHAP, but, the building inspector contacted the DEC and they said that they don't need to get,
There's no.
there's no CHAP permit needed.
Okay, well, as long as we're, you know, consistent with best management practices and you witness the installation, that would be fine.
Chris,
I'm gonna go through everybody, so hang on.
Okay.
Linda?
No.
Dave?
No.
My turn,
Sure.
huh? Next door neighbor to the east, blacktop driveway, looks like it's within a couple of foot of the lot line. Question I have is, what's the elevation of that driveway compared to the lawn that you're gonna dump the sump on?
I haven't been to the property,
Because, you know, if you're dumping your sump pump at ground level, and that driveway's a little lower, you just created a lake in the guy's driveway. Or a pond. You see that, JP?
Yeah, I mean, we just gotta pipe it somewhere where it's gonna have positive.
I think we have, yeah.
They can join, maybe they join the two crocks up and go, you know, out that north end or the south end, wherever the drainage is gonna appropriately carry in there.
Okay, just so we're aware of that, because we don't wanna.
Yeah. We've got all the topo on our sewer maps for this area. We've got all that topography, so.
We can check it out when we put the sewer line in.
No, we can check it out before Cheryl gives her the
We
permit.
got
Yeah.
it right there.
Give her a spot and show her.
Okay, well, yeah, I think it would fall on
Spot
Cheryl
with the
enough
topo.
to just make sure on the elevation that we're not, so it wouldn't spill onto the neighbor.
Correct, okay.
Okay,
Yeah, that would be-
then I'm good.
Mark,
Yeah, no comments.
Jim. How about making a motion?
Sure.
Can you include-
I'd like to make a motion for type 2 secret determination on Heather Murray.
Murphy.
Heather Murphy's, type 2 seeker, and this is, well, it's all next, it doesn't require.
I'll second it.
Poll the votes, please.
Linda Drew,
Yes.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
Chris Schleider,
Yes?
James Nesbitt,
Yes.
Mark Hallerstein.
Yes.
And I'd like to make a motion for approval, for Heather Murphy. It's 6516 Shore Acre Drive. And this will be for, what are we gonna call this? A permit to allow foundation maintenance work within 100 foot of Lake Ontario. This is a shoreline residential zone district, LWRP, a tax count number 007.520-01-002. The following documents have been submitted for review: Conservation Corridor Development Permit Application, Instrument Survey, Aerial Photo, Property, Description of Work to be done, Drawing of Work to be done, and LWRP consistent.
Second it.
Poll the votes, please.
Linda Drew,
Yes.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
Chris Schleider,
Yes.
James Nesbitt,
Yes.
Mark Hallerstein.
Yes.
Okay, next item on the agenda is the Conservation Corridor Permit application for Kevin and Renee Chick at 34 Lake Road, East Fork, Hamlin. They are my neighbors immediately to the north, so I'm gonna hand this over to you, Dave, to
Yeah, sure.
do the honors, and the following one also at 24.
Yep. Okay, is there anybody here to represent 34 Lake Road?
Kevin and Renee.
Okay.
He's Kevin.
Pardon me?
He's Kevin.
Okay. Yeah. I assumed that. Okay, you wanna tell us what you're gonna do?
Actually, the high water levels had caused a lot of erosion, and so we're gonna sheet pile. Originally in 2019, when we filed for the permits, we had the money to do the full project, but due to that cost increase, we had to downsize slightly. My mom and dad live directly to the north of us, so the two plans are conjoining, I guess. So we'll tie into theirs at the property line, bring it in approximately 25, 30 feet, terminate with an existing, so we could continue at a future date to the approved DEC permit.
Okay, it's 36 foot long, 4-inch thick, is that what you're saying?
That's, if that's what the numbers I have at that point, correct. With the modifications, I don't have the exact figure. Steve was supposed to be here, the contractor, but he's not tonight, sorry.
What height is it gonna be?
We're gonna be right at the whatever the high water mean, I'm trying to think, huh? I guess I don't know the exact, you're talking height of the wall?
Looks like it's going to 251 in the profiles.
Okay.
251, 252.
All right. Okay. JP, anything else?
No, if you look through the DEC permit, there's plenty of conditions for them to protect everything, so I don't have any additional information.
Keith?
No legal concerns, it's type 2.
Okay. Cheryl?
No concerns, I had talked with Chicks before, and I've talked with DEC, no concerns.
Okay. Janine?
I looked at the property and, I don't have any concerns, it's consistent.
Okay. Okay, Linda?
Yeah.
Okay. Jim?
Is this, are you driving piling?
Yes.
You're just driving, it's just, so it's gonna be interlocked?
They're gonna be pulling some of the existing per the DEC, as laid out in the format, as, you mentioned, there's a lot of stipulations how they, that's why it took 2 years for us to be at this point.
And then are you gonna, you tie it back to the shoreline?
It'll come back up the property line to get us to where we won't have that any other further, unless it goes above the 251 or whatever that height was.
Cause it's, you got some sandstone in that area.
Yeah, there's a lot of,
Gotta watch, see how far you're gonna pound it down in there.
right.
Okay, no other questions?
Mark?
No, I'm good, thank you.
All right, so we have a motion then.
I'll make the motion that we consider the Conservation Corridor Development Permit by Kevin Chick at 34 Lake Road, East Fork, to be a type 2 action under seeker, and then our seeker review is complete.
I'll second it.
Linda DeRue,
Yes.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
Chris Schleider, James Nesbitt, Mark Dellerstein.
Yes. And the main item for Kevin Chick at 34 Lake Road, East Fork, seeking a Conservation Corridor Development Permit per DEC permit for the removal of an existing 36-foot, 4-inch long vertical wall and the installation of a new 36-foot, 4-inch sheet pile wall in accordance with the conditions referenced in the National Resource Condition number 6 of the permit. This is in the RCW zoning district and LWRP tax code number 006.120-01-008. Following documents have been submitted for review: Conservation Corridor Development Permit application, the DEC permit, and the LWRP is consistent.
I'll second it.
Linda DeRue,
Yes.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
James Nesbitt,
Yes.
Mark Dellerstein.
Yes.
Very good. Okay, next on the agenda here, Conservation Corridor Development Permit for Charles Chick, and is that at 24 Lake Road East?
That is correct.
Okay, okay, very good. So, anybody here represent that one?
All four of them. I can speak for that.
Okay,
He's He's our voice person.
Well, you're
Her and I
paying,
are
who's
so
paying
deaf,
for
we
it?
can't hear a word you're saying.
Okay, go ahead. Pretty much the
Same situation, that they'll, at the property line in the north, sheet piling per the angles of the DC's, approval, and then coming to the 34 north property line, and then tying into my project, and then terminating as we spoke just a minute ago.
So you're gonna be joining the two together then?
The two will come together,
Yeah.
correct?
Mhm.
We're gonna make the full two properties, but again, the money's went skyrocketing, forcing Renee and I to downsize ours slightly.
Okay.
But we would like to have the reserve to continue if it needed. He's gonna terminate it so we could continue,
If you have,
at a further notice, right?
yeah, okay, all right. JP,
No engineering concerns.
Keith,
No legal concerns, it's type 2.
okay, Cheryl,
No concerns.
Janine,
No, I looked at this, because it was right next door to the other one. Same thing, it's consistent.
okay, good. Okay, Linda? Jim?
Good.
Yep, all set, okay, need a motion then?
All right, how about we consider the Conservation Corridor Development Permit for Charles Chick at 24 Lake Road, East Fork, to be considered a type 2 action under seeker, and that our seeker review is complete.
Second.
Linda Drew,
Yes.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
James Nesbitt,
Yes.
Mark Bellerstein.
Yes. And that the Charles Chicks at 24 Lake Road, East Fork, submitting or seeking a Conservation Corridor Development Permit for the following: a removal of existing timber wall, and the construction of a new 76-foot sheet pile wall, the placement of approximately 45 cubic yards of new fill and incidental disturbance below the mean high water level of Sandy Creek, a New York State regulated navigable waterway. All work must be completed in accordance with the conditions referenced in the National Resource Condition number 6 of the permit. This is in the RCW zoning district and the LWRP. Tax count number is 006.12-01-007. The following documents have been submitted for review: Conservation Corridor Development Permit application, DEC permit, and LWRP consistency.
Linda Drew,
Yes.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
James Nesbitt,
Yes.
Mark Bellerstein.
Yes.
He's your neighbor, you have our sympathy.
Hopefully we have the blessing, that's a good thing, right?
That's the least we can do.
Well, I'm stuck between the two of them, so. Got one father on one side and one on the other.
Behave yourself.
Just make sure you clean all the knickknacks off the wall. Because when he hits it, sandstone, you're gonna yell it. So,
Can I ask a quick question? What's the next phase? Do you
we
vote
start?
on this, or can we start the project, or is this, I don't
See
know.
me and get a building permit.
Okay,
Yeah,
What is she doing?
just see her and get the building permit.
finally.
Yes. October 3rd, 19.
2 years today.
I'm gonna tell you what, it's almost the same for everybody,
Right,
you know, with the fund. It just takes most of the people in the DEC and Department of State who work from home for 15, 16 months, and everybody's at the mercy of them, so it's not on us.
right.
We're here to serve you folks, so.
No, we got you guys in a month. 2 years for the DEC.
Should've came to us first.
We just sent it to the DC.
We come to see Cheryl for it, or?
For the building permit.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you guys.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay.
Next item on the agenda.
Thank you, Paul.
Okay, welcome. Yeah.
I apologize.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay, all right. Thank you.
Okay. We'll bring the meeting back to order here. Last item on the agenda, Cheryl, there's nobody else, right?
No, this is it. I have to go and lock the door for the chicks.
Okay.
Hello again.
Oh, how are you?
It's been a while.
Yes.
So when was the last time I was in front of the board? It was like a year ago, right?
Yeah.
That was a fast, well, something started. That was a fast year.
You want to set that up, come out in front of the
Yeah,
the
sure.
laptop and set it up there and,
It's very similar.
Pick it up.
We'll see. I can point to the thing.
He's got to point the changes to us. Anything?
okay, get your spiel already. What
All
are
right.
we doing here? You sent us a letter,
Yeah, so,
see the letter?
yeah.
Okay.
We were made aware that the project's original approval from September of 2020 had expired. So we're back in front of the board as, I guess, an update, and we're looking to renew that approval as we move towards actually applying for the building permit, which should happen within the next couple weeks. So since we were last in front of the board, there's been some small changes to the plan. Mostly a reduction actually in the overall footprint of the array. Still within that original approval and original limits of disturbance, but we took the entire array in. That's really just because of improved panels, updating the electrical design with the latest and greatest materials. I mean, it's been 3 years since the project was originally conceived. And there was a delay over the summer in acquiring materials with the supply chain issues that our country's been having. So, it's been a couple delays in the project since the approval in 2020. The plan I have there that the live stream can see, but I don't know if you can look at it, is the original approval. Maybe I can hold it up so you can take a look. And this is a good comparison for what the revised layout is. So this is the original approval in 2020. You can see the footprint of the array. There's the two systems and the access road off of Redmond Road. And then the new layout. We still are holding the same fence line. When we move towards the building permit, that might be a change that the contractor makes and actually wants to hold that in. But for now, it's a good demarcation of the lease area, which isn't changing. And then the actual footprint of the array has been reduced. And the access road is largely in the same location up until you get into the array, in which case we've been able to reduce the number of equipment pads. So there's just 2 turnarounds now. But it should look very similar to what was originally approved in 2020.
Can you flip it back one more time?
Yep. I can do it for the audience at home too. I don't know if they can see that. Oh, here's the camera. There you go. So this is the original, and this is what we'll be submitting the building permit for. We've been working with Labella locally in our racking company called Valmont to prepare final civil plans, or final civil set for a permit, final electrical set for permit, and a final structural set for permit. So all those documents will be submitted to Cheryl when we apply for the building permit, and I anticipate that literally to be within the next couple weeks.
Okay, JP.
The only thing, only 2 things that substance that I came up with from reviewing the plan that we were approved a year ago, is this new civil site has it looks to be a property line, but I know there was discussion of lease lines rather than filing for a subdivision, but there's new red line going down the center of the two arrays, down the center of the driveway. It didn't appear on the approved plan. And I just wanted Joe to know, is that for the two lease areas, but you're not filing for subdivision?
We're not filing for subdivision, that's just for the two lease areas.
I see now there's a lease area 1 and the red and lease area 2.
Yeah, that brown color didn't come out too well, so the red kind of stands out, but
All right.
yep,
So
those are the two lease areas.
They're not subdivision.
No.
Because that would introduce setback issues and things like that, which we kind of hashed around a lot. Okay. And then I guess the only other thing is, what we approved a few years ago was, or last year, I guess, when they approved it. We had a 6 drawing set that had the erosion sediment control, had the details of the actual array heights and things like that. And other site details that, I think it's just gonna be incorporated with the full.
Yes, yeah, all of those sheets, actually some additional details too will be included with what's submitted with the building permit. A lot more information than was submitted initially, especially on the structural and electrical side.
Yeah, so I mean, as long as the height of the arrays, the tilts, if that information's essentially the same.
Yeah, all of that's consistent with what was originally approved.
Because I think they were 9 foot or something.
Yeah, I think just under 10.
Full elevated, which is under the 12-foot limit, I think. So, yeah, if given that, I mean, if you approve this and it's incorporated with all the previously approved site details, I wouldn't have any.
Yeah, the first night they presented, they talked about 14 foot, and we talked about 12, and then it ended up at 9.
Right.
I think the town code's 12, right? Is the town code 12? I think 12 is the maximum. Yeah. Yeah, I think it is.
Was a zoning variance granted for a fence to 7 feet?
I think we determined that, well, I don't know, it's electric code to be 7 feet. That's minimum for electrical.
Okay.
So they technically can't do less than that.
I think we discussed that at a meeting too. It's been a while, so I didn't look through all the minutes.
Alrighty. 2 issues. And I'm going to focus one of the issues at our town board. The other project and all facilities of this type require a demolition plan. Okay. This really doesn't affect the demolition plan very much. In fact, it might be somewhat less of a cost. But as part of the other presentation that was approved, I don't believe there was ever any financial security or letter of credit or anything else like that presented to the town board for approval before starting.
They did have decommissioning plans.
They had a plan.
But I don't know whether anything was filed with the town in terms of actual bond or what have you.
I don't think anything was filed with the town in terms of decommissioning. I think we presented a decommissioning plan to the planning board, but I think that last step, the town board still needed to be taken care of.
The decommissioning plan is something that is subject to the approval of the town board.
I am aware of that. Okay. But they never did that because they never got started. Okay. So what I'm saying is part of this, be prepared to address that issue and come up with that cost. As far, I read your email, Keith, about the fact that they're asking for an extension, okay, or reapproval. All right. I believe because of the disability on behalf of the contractor and developer to being hamstrung with equipment and pipe or the materials and all that other stuff, because it's been rife through the whole system. just that in itself would qualify in my mind, and I think as well as in yours, come leaving that from your email about reapproval. Are we still on the same page?
Yes, I mean, this is not unlike a subdivision plat where the signatures have expired.
Yeah. Cheryl, you have any comments?
I don't have any comments, although I had a discussion with a gentleman from Next Era Energy today, because I was away last week, and I guess some construction equipment was delivered to the site, and today it's been removed. I told him this doesn't have reapproval yet, and he does not have a building permit, so that construction equipment was removed.
Okay, I'm also aware that other people in our chain of approvals here at the table, our engineering was also approached by someone asking if they could start construction. Okay, it's not his call, it's our call. All right, not good. Okay. And I also aware one of our agribusinessmen was somewhat, I don't want to say threatened, but was told to get his crops in, get it off the site. It's not the way we do business, unless it came from Mr. Dalla. Okay. But that's a contractual issue on the lease arrangement that he might have with Gene's property. Okay. Once again, that's not the way we do business in this community. All right.
Chris, on the same line, do we want to make some type of motion or something in the minutes that we discuss the decommission?
Yes.
Something put in so
I mean,
that it's.
You could make it, there's a couple places you could make it a condition of this.
Yeah.
Prior to issuance of the building permit, that they have the decommissioning bond in place, or prior to commissioning it, or getting certificate of occupancy that commissioning, but somewhere get it.
Didn't we already have that in our special condition for our conditions? For
I think it was one of the original conditions.
I think it's in there already.
Makes sense.
So
yeah.
We wouldn't have done it without it, I'm pretty sure.
You would want both the decommissioning plan and the bond to get done simultaneously.
Show me the money.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the part I'm getting at. Yeah. What's a construction time?
They want to be in the ground this year, so they want to be done.
Okay, what's the completion date?
Typically these are 2-month projects, all in, all done. Maybe a little float of a month outside of that, but they're really against the clock. I know. I mean, I grew up in Syracuse, so I know how much snow we get out here. I don't know if they realize that, but I know the window's closing rapidly.
Sun shines every day in Hamlin. You're putting them up here.
Yep.
I haven't seen 2 4 megawatts go up that fast.
Yeah.
We'll see. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, obviously, you won't be able to do any screening or anything else like that at this time. I still don't have an issue with them asking for the reapproval. I would like to know if there's been a highway permit
There has.
issued.
Yep.
Is there a copy of it within our file?
I can provide one.
Bond and decommissioning plan, a new decommissioning plan with the bond, okay, before we get a building permit. And I guess, I don't know if there's anything else that we want to do before we do a regular motion for this. Do we have to redo seeker?
No.
Okay.
I just wondered, you asked for 6 months. Could we just do a year in case materials don't
Yes.
happen again?
Sure, we can do a year.
Does that make sense to everybody else? Just
Well,
like-
that would make a lot of sense.
Do a reapproval, right?
What's that?
It's automatic, you reapprove the site plan or redate it, you got a year, right?
Well, he asked for 6 in his letter.
I asked NextEra, I asked if 6 months was enough, and they said yes, but we'll take a year too. I'm sure that would be fine. I don't think there's gonna be any arguments on that. I'll make that decision, yeah.
Go ahead.
Sir, I have one question. So we're not gonna issue the building permit until it's gone to the town board and have the decommissioning plan and the bond approved, correct?
You need a new decommissioning plan,
No, yes.
okay?
Mhm.
As far as town board approval with, you need to know what's in the ground and how much money it's going to be for the decommissioning plan. I don't have a problem with, issuing a building permit, okay, but we need to have some way, okay, to make sure that money's sitting with the town.
Customarily, if we were doing a subdivision, the letter of credit would be posted before they could pull a building permit.
Okay,
I think the same process should apply here.
okay.
And for what it's worth, that's very similar to every other town I've seen these go up.
Yeah. Town board meets next week,
The 12th.
just one time a month.
And we're back to twice a month, aren't we? Is the one just for bills, the second one? So maybe.
So maybe not for the next board meeting, but the following board meeting. And what's that date?
That looks like it would be
Don't matter.
Monday, November 15th. If it's not a holiday. It seems like.
Columbus Day.
Oh, it is, it's the 8th, I think, because the first is the planning board.
That seems late.
Yes, thank you.
And the first snowstorm is 12.
Yeah, the
Halloween,
Okay.
It's all done GPS, so it doesn't matter if it's going through snow, I would think.
The town board, Phil, are we in the process of a farmland protection policy? Is
Yeah,
that
but
moved?
that-
Pardon?
yes, but it'll be.
I mean, is that something that we're working on now, or?
Yeah, we're just filling out application right now, and that'll be April of 2022.
All right. Does anybody else have any other questions about this?
No.
Someone like to make a motion to approve, reapprove this site plan? We're gonna need signatures
I'll be glad to
and incorporate conditions.
recommend the planning board approve the special use permit reapproval of Helios Energy Hamlin Solar Farm, NextEra Energy at 980 Redmond Road. Owner of the land is Eugene Dollard, seeking reapproval of the special use permit that has now expired. This is on tax account number 012.02-1-3, and that the reapproval would have a 1-year extension, and that the demolition plan and letter of credit or bonding needs to be approved by and in place with the town board prior to issuance of a building permit.
I'll second that.
Linda DeRue,
Yes.
Dave Martin,
Abstain.
Chris Schleider,
Yes?
James Nesbitt.
Yes.
Mark Bellerstein.
Yes.
Okay. You know what we gotta do this time?
I do. Famous last words. I don't know if we'll see each other again. Maybe. Don't. I know you guys are gonna miss
I
me.
might lose some more hair with that guy.
Yeah, who knows? I appreciate your time again. Thank you very much.
Do we have any further discussion?
We do have further discussion. I was provided, by a concerned resident, photos of, where the vape shop is located, 1712, Lake Road. And it appears today, even confirmed by another resident during the evening hours, there's a lot of smoke coming out of those two garages. I cannot tell if it's exhaust or if he's painting in there, but it's quite evident that something is going on. And I have cars out front that have license plates on them. I'm going to do my best tomorrow to make some contacts about finding out who these cars belong to, because he always states that he owns all the cars that he works on. I'll get the information, and I think that it's time to maybe have the resident, maybe the owner, come back into the planning board to apply for a site plan to run motor vehicle repair shop. I just want to bring this to everybody's attention. I'll pass these few pictures and I'll pass them over here.
Yeah, he was painting a car.
I don't know, there was a lot of fumes coming in.
He was painting a car, and it's an apartment complex.
Yeah, I'm going to have to speak to the fire marshal tomorrow, show him the photos.
Yeah.
Have we ever been satisfied that the fire door was ever installed in there between
No.
that and the residential?
No, speaking with the fire marshal today, no. We've not been satisfied.
Well, I guess with code and everything else, we have some liability if we don't act in the benefit of the rest of the residents. You've got young toddlers there playing in the front parking lot.
Which belong to him, the renter.
Okay. We're gonna have to exercise our ability through the fire marshal, okay? And then deal with it in the court system. So, and then I also saw in the newsletter that we're opting out of the cannabis business.
Well, that's to be determined
Well, be
October
determined,
12th
but
at the
we're
public hearing.
at a public hearing. So what does that do to the approval for a vape shop?
Doesn't
They
change,
can't sell cannabis,
right, doesn't change the
or
date.
oils, or anything else like that.
Right.
I mean,
If we opt out, there'll be no retail sales
okay.
Or any
or
smoking.
on-site consumption. Those are the two issues that we can either opt in or opt out of.
Now, a vehicle repair shop needs to have a license from New York State.
Yes,
So where's New York State in this?
New York State has been notified in the past with the concerns. It has been asked of them that they come out and do a inspection, and I don't know if they don't have manpower, but they've never been out.
Politically, can we find out why we're not getting responsive action on the part of the New York State?
Well, I don't think there's been an application for a motor vehicle repair shop there. So
Right, so.
if you don't apply,
Well, if it looks like one and talks like one, it is one. And so there you are, a regulatory branch of some sort. So I would expect maybe state troopers, you know, somehow we need to check with the licensing bureau for that. Keith, do you have any input into this?
There are layers of government regulation, and we control one layer, others control their own thing. It's rather like a bar. Our zoning can permit or not permit a bar to open, but we don't issue the liquor license.
Right.
There's a different organization that does that at the state level. So the decision starts with us, you know, is this permitted? Are we going, and if we're going to allow it, are we gonna bring them in and force them to apply for a permit, or are we gonna shut them down and get a cite them? And that's probably our prime leverage right now. And certainly if they get the permits to operate from us, then we would expect them to turn to the state and promptly get that permit. And if they refuse to do so, you know, then it's I don't want to get into our enforcement attorneys, you know, wheelhouse, but they'd have to determine whether they're operating legally, and perhaps the town could either contact the state directly or have one of our elected representatives in Albany do that.
Okay.
Keith, with the fact that he has harassed our fire marshal, wouldn't let him in for inspections and stuff like that, isn't that, in the town, we gave him permission to be in there. This board gave him permission to be in there. But where's the liability in case of a fire? If there's a tragedy in that place, and he wouldn't allow the fire marshal in there, that shows, to me, it almost shows it's 100% him for not letting us in there, and that should be immediate action. That place should be closed, it should be locked up and done with. Because you've got people that are in immediate danger. Now he's filling the building with paint spray. It's not getting any better. The fact if he doesn't get a license, or if the town board doesn't pass this, do we honestly, we can't sit here and say, he's not selling anything out of there. He's perfectly legal, yeah, he only comes in from 8 to 5 and stuff. You can't do that. You can go by there at 2 o'clock in the morning and see people running around out in the street.
It is not the town's obligation to sue everybody who's violating various laws. We have limited resources, and most towns react based on complaints, or if they see a safety issue that's significant enough, they'll skip the complaint and go right for it. In this instance, I assume, is it Maureen Warner who does the code enforcement? You'd have to have that discussion with her. I mean, one of the things you could do, for example, aside from potentially red tagging under the state building code and citing them that way, the state building code offers an opportunity to prosecute criminally. You can get a misdemeanor against you for violating the state building code, operating in violation of the state code. Another approach would be perhaps an administrative search warrant if you have reason to believe they're operating without permits. And I drove by there myself this evening. They were working on vehicles, obviously. So you perhaps get an administrative search warrant before the town judge and get a sheriff's deputy over there and get inside and bring the fire marshal inside that way, at which point then you could sue based on the information you gather from that inspection. And that also tends to show them that you're rather serious too. So it tends to be motivated.
So I think we can't judge an individual. It's not in the code book. But I think we've seen enough go on there in the last year. The best thing that could happen to it is the building burn down. But we've seen enough go on in the last year. There's got to be some action taken. It doesn't seem as though we're getting any action from anybody. We're not, that he doesn't need to be in the town of Hamlin.
Tactically, you would choose, and I'm just spitballing here. Right?
Yeah.
I don't want to tell Maureen how to do her job, and I don't have all the pertinent facts. But one of the things you can do is you can sue the property owner, you can sue the tenants, you can go after everybody. And I've often heard this from the police. We round up everybody and we let the courts sort it out. It's what they do. Well, you can do that here too. And if you start suing the landlord, the property owner, that tends to not make him happy, and so he'll pressure the tenant to sort things out. And that can be worthwhile.
Well, it's a two-pronged issue also, and the property owner has made the comment that the town uses selective enforcement when we talked about paving parking lots and striping and everything else, geez, you know. But that's a two-edged sword, because selective enforcement, its pure meaning, okay, is to protect the innocent, and that's not what's happening here. He complains about selective enforcement, but what it is every other building where you fix cars and everything has that sign out front there. It's illegal, it's legal, you know, and they can do it. So we don't have to listen to that, okay? So it's really in his best interest to come in and talk to his tenant. But in the meantime, Cheryl and the fire marshal and the town attorney is gonna have to, we're gonna need to step up to the plate somehow. We're not the enforcement, but, you know, it's.
When he applied originally for the vape shop, he stated he wasn't gonna work on vehicles.
Right.
And is that grounds to take away the CSC for the vape shop? Close the doors? Because he's not living up to his end of the
Permit.
permit.
I'm not sure you push it that far. I mean, you could try. I mean, certainly the site has an approval for a retail establishment. And the site and its parking were sized for that use. And I believe at the time they said they had no present use for the garage, if I recall.
Yep.
So if
Or he may be working on his own cars.
He did state that he likes to paint and likes to work on his own cars, and that was in the body of a discussion, or it was not
That was
placed.
his statement. We
That was
didn't
his-
approve the special permit. Was
How
for
many cars he
retail
owns
sales.
is anybody's business.
You know, if it was just his Model T that he's got there in the truck, and he was working on it with a spray can and painting the wheels and all that other stuff, no one would care about it. But it's, you know, building turbos and track cars and
Yeah.
all the other stuff. And we still don't know if he's living there.
He is living there with his children up above the garage in the upper apartment. And I think the mother of his children also lives there.
Well, I guess those are things we can't, I guess, get into. But
No.
when the fire marshal thing is probably the biggest thing. If there is a fire or fumes and all that other stuff is getting into the apartments, and it's not up to this board, but everybody's seeing it. If something happens, landlord's as responsible as he is.
In the minutes, the first or second sentence, and I had made the statement that I was concerned about the health, safety, and welfare of the tenants. I still stand with that, and I still think we have a liability, or the town board has a liability, health, safety, and welfare of the tenants. What's going on in that garage? And outside of painting, or having a torch outfit, cutting the exhaust system off a car or whatever, it's gone over that line. And I don't think anything's gonna be done until there's a tragedy.
We already had one garage burned to the ground, and the town was on the hook for doing all the cleaning up and all that other stuff. I don't know if we wanna have that happen again.
No, but I think we gotta have some help. Well, it's not our call anymore.
Yeah.
But I think as a group, I can speak for all of us, we support you, you know, and know that.
Oh yeah, this is a fire marshal issue.
And
Like Keith said, fire marshal and sheriff together. That makes a difference. You know, you got the law there now, you know.
I will make a comment that the sheriffs are there all the time.
The what is it?
The sheriffs are always there.
Doing what?
You have to talk to the court system about that.
Oh.
There's a lot of other issues going on, but the sheriffs are familiar with that location.
if the sheriff comes in with the fire marshal and says, okay, you don't have a fire door up. Okay, well, yeah, we'll put it up, so he gets a pass.
Hmm.
You know, he spent over a year,
Uh-huh.
and now he gets a
Time to
pass.
close the doors until something happens.
Okay, Janine?
No,
Looks like you were busy over the last few weeks.
I was, but they were all relatively easy. It's nice to visit with the town folks, so.
Okay, very good. Everybody good here? Nothing else?
Nothing else on the town board, Bill?
No, we're working on budget and, we do have, the Canal Authority is doing a pilot program with the town of Hamlin, and there's another site, I can't remember what town that's in, on Scout Park. They're gonna redo the bathrooms, ADA bathrooms, make a fishing dock on Scout Park, redo trails. They wanna increase and go after the fishing, increased flow coming from the canal to feed the creek and promote fishing in the area, and they're using Hamlin as a pilot program.
You think that'll come up in the next year or so?
Supposedly they wanna get it going this month, that's what,
Right across the road, Ritzy Woods is looking for a project for an Eagle Scout. That's the main Eagle Scout, maybe we could jump in there someplace.
the only thing they won't do is playground equipment.
Yeah.
You know, they're just, but they're gonna redo, I forgot all the details, but
Well, you know Ritzy and Billy.
they're gonna do quite a bit of work at Scout Park. So that's
Wasn't one of the things in the LWRP rewrite to make the boundary, because Sandy Creek is part of the LWRP, to make the boundaries even further on either side, which would then incorporate Scout Park into the LWRP. So there might be at some point in the future some grant money through the LWRP.
Yeah, there might be some additional funds, because we wanted to make that connection up through Brockport. If we couldn't do it on Route 19 as a corridor, we always had the creek to back, so.
What, Sandy Creek they're talking?
Yeah.
So that's a plus. And we did meet, the Farm Protection Committee met, 2 weeks ago now. And, we're working with the county on, getting some in-kind contributions, and there's application money, there's a grant coming available in April of 2022, and we're trying to get our ducks in a row, and when that comes forward, we're ready to go.
Did Bob King come out and meet with you guys?
Ron Grant. Ron Grant.
Good, good.
You know,
Yeah, Jackie Smith was here, and Ron Bland and Bob King.
It seems like a pretty decent sort. Rob was. All nice as that.
been there a long time.
Yeah, it went pretty
Just
well.
be a bobblehead, that's it. We wanna keep our fun,
Yeah.
so. All right. Who do we talk to about the parkway under the bridge at Sandy Creek? Is that DEC, the boat launch, or is that the park commission? Who is it? That'd be a nice scout project if you wanna pick up needles and bottles and all kinds of other stuff that's left all over there. There's no receptacle for garbage and refuse. Just floats out, gets caught in the docks of the yacht club.
Oh, we pick up all the cans.
By the boat launch, there's no refuge?
Huh?
At the boat launch, there's no,
I didn't see any down there.
Who's responsible for the trash there?
Don't know.
The town has a responsibility of putting the docks in.
Yeah, the town.
It's all they have.
but yeah, I can ask.
Oh, Sandy Creek is being dredged this week.
How far?
Oh, pretty big barge.
How deep they making it?
I think talking going 11 foot.
So we just surveyed that to cross the creek with the sewer line.
They won't go up that far. They won't go past the yacht club.
Well, yeah, that's right where we are. It's
It's
just
close to the-
north side of the,
And how deep did you put your force main?
well, this DEC made us go down, I think, 5 to 6 feet below the bottom, but that's the bottom we surveyed.
That's what I mean.
I thought you were going up farther, you were going up by the launch, weren't you?
Yeah,
Yeah, you're going up by the
just
launch,
north
yes.
of the Parkway Bridge.
Yeah, see, and they're
Crossing
not,
right up under there.
they're not, the barge will not go south of the yacht club.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you know, there's a little ebb in Sandy Creek. You know, it comes back and forth all the time. And they have to put out the silt fence every time, and it's like every 20 minutes.
Yeah, every 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's like, these guys, this isn't gonna work too well.
The creek actually changes maybe 4 to 6 inches.
Yeah, and they're going up to Thompson Creek, up in by Cuckville,
Oh,
up there past the Albion Water Treatment Plant.
yeah.
They're gonna dredge that sometime in November.
Johnson.
Johnson Creek. Yes, in Thompson.
Well, if you were really worried about it, then you could have come south of the bridge and
Yeah.
picked up 2 more.
Well, they were going up through your lawn, but you put the garage in.
No, and I put a new septic in too, so.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
Second that motion.
I finished all the business around 7:35, I wrote it down.
They were the Yankee game, the Yankee, Boston doesn't play till tomorrow night.
Nothing official that I
Good night.
So JP, how's your workload?
Mine's good.
Bye, Keith.
Hi, Cheryl. I'll email you that
Yes,
address
please,
tomorrow.
so I can go out and take a look at
Yes.
this.
So sure. I never, but when I finished